Okay, now we are back with Asuka, the Saiyan from Universe 9 story. Wait. Yeah, it is from Universe 9. And if it isn't, I'll just correct myself in the comments below this. Okay, so last we left off, Asuka was being pretty much kicked out of Glacier's and his father's house against her will, as we all know, due to Glacier's dad not liking any races that aren't Arcosian, especially the Saiyans. And Glacier respecting his dad's wishes, but going behind his back at the same time. The perfect deception plan. It's really ice cold, you know. Okay, I'm gonna stop. Okay, so once Asuka's out in the streets, she's basically she doesn't really. I mean, Saiyans, as we all know, Saiyans are all natural born survivors. But I mean, even the kids. Look in the canon. You see Vegeta when he's on another planet with his dad destroying entire civilizations. That's him before he's even in his above the age of 10. Hell, he's actually 5 during that time. He's still a kid. And even then, Saiyans send their own infants into space just to kill off other civilizations. When they're babies, and that's what happened with Kakarot. And they had no doubt that he would do it because everyone on that planet was already so weak. I mean, he already killed one of the strongest people on the planet, which was his grandpa Gohan. And now we have Asuka, who is basically way stronger than Kakarot was when he was younger. As in, think about it like this. Kakarot started off this Kakarot by the end of Dragon Ball was at a power level without any amps about 400 or something. I think 496 probably. Really. And then we have Asuka, who at the age of 5 has a power level around 1500. She would solo Dragon Ball at that point. She would probably face trouble, but then again, Raditz is more experienced than her, so he would probably beat an infant. But going off of another manga I read, that would probably still be hard. But now we'll get back into the story. So Asuka is on I'm not sure what to call the Frieza home planet, so I'm just gonna call it Arcosia. So she's on the world of Arcosia. Yeah, looking out as he had recently just stolen a platter of meat. She's never really seen this type of meat. It seems like it's from a weird chicken-like thing. I'm not sure if you know what a chicken is either. So the main thing we gotta establish is that they probably have way different food than what we think. So just imagine the cross between a chicken and a frog, and it tastes like beef. And you can thank me for that image and for that taste you now have in your mouth. So anyway, she eats that, and after she eats it, she actually enjoys it, and she eats the whole platter. Of course, she stole it. Glacier did give her some money, and she does know how it works. But considering the fact that besides Glacier and the other scientists on the planet, and a few other people, most of the people here just think she's a pest, even before she was kicked out and started stealing. I mean, let's be honest, she was always causing trouble, but see, now they took it a step further and just kind of called her, they never called her by her name, they called her a monkey or something. She had no respect for those people, so she stole from them whenever she wanted. So there she is, eating the platter of food she had stolen for herself. It had been up to this point about a year, but since she basically broke. It had been at this point about a year since he was kicked out of Glacier's house officially by his dad. And she's been living on the streets ever since, and his dad regularly comes by in his room to check it and make sure she's not there. I mean, he doesn't know about the compartment that Glacier made, because Glacier never really told him about that. that, so he never checks in there. But he'd probably still. But knowing Asuka, if she was there, he would most likely hear her snoring, especially if she was asleep. So that still wasn't an option anyway. I mean, he still went out to go find Asuka every now and then, like once every few, like a couple of times every couple of weeks. He'd go out, find her, give her new clothes, give her some money to buy some food, and he'd be like, "Hey, Asuka, so have you been doing all right? I apologize that my father is quite the bigoted, quite the bigot, but that's just how it is on Arcosia. Most of us have been illusioned to think that we're greater than we actually are. I can only blame those such as Lord Frieza. He's cold and cooler. Not that I despise them, mind you. I actually quite admire the thorough work. However, even I find it most distasteful to just waste life by the flick of a finger, when it could be used for so much more. There's so much more to life than just pure destruction, and that's why I chose to become a scientist over a soldier. I'd rather create than destroy. Do you understand me, Asuka? He looks over to Asuka, and Asuka just like smiles at him because her mouth is full of these type of pastries that Glacier bought her. She has no idea what they are, but some of them have filling, and they have little holes in the center of them too. And then he just says, "I see you're enjoying the donuts that I got. Apparently, someone I know told me about something about them, and I took a round trip there to go get some." And then Asuka is kind of just like nodding, and she says with a mouthful, "Oh, I understand, Glacier. Hey, I'm out of donuts. Do you have any more?" And then Glacier just chuckles at her, and then he just shakes his head and says, "You legitimate, oh Asuka, oh my little fire starter, you've eaten all of the entire box. There were like 24 in there. Were you that hungry?" And Asuka just kind of nods as Glacier just smiles, and then they part ways again. Of course, they have to do this in secret because Arcosians talk. I guess gossip is something that transcends the stars, you know what I mean? So at this point, Asuka is now... So at this point, they both need to be careful. And Glacier has not really been keeping up much of his training as he would have, because he's been having to cut between work and finding time to go see Asuka, and he's kind of slacked off in it. So he hasn't really gotten that much stronger. He's still in the 15,000 range, if anything, and it's only about 15,320 now. So yeah, he's been slacking off. Asuka, on the other hand, well, I'm gonna just put up a scenario like this, because there's a lot of things that happen in between this and where like the story that the creator of Asuka gave me. So I'm just gonna be filling in some blanks here and there that I think would make the most sense and that we have talked about, like in chats. So Asuka is, of course, just going down the road, and it's in midday. It's about at midnight, so most of the Arcosians are asleep at this point. And then she just looks around and doesn't really see much of anything before. But then her sensei immediately smells something, and she jumps back as a fist collides with the ground where she was standing, and then completely demolishes the earth that was there. Yeah, looking up, Asuka can see that it was one of those juvenile Arcosians. One of those Arcosians that had like the piercings and they spray tanned their tails different colors. They kind of had these chests nails embedded into them. Yeah, even our Cosians can get edgy every now and then. We're going that way. Like, of course, there's only like 3 of them, and it's a gang of course, about. It's this small gang, but he knows from experience in dealing with them that he knows that that experience dealing with them, they are not as strong as they think they are, and that the only ones he needs to worry about is the one that crushed the ground in front of her. Like one of those gangs where like the big guy is the only one you need to worry about, and all the lackeys are just, cannon fodder. And she looks up and she says, "Oh, Ice Drop, what are you doing? Ice Drop, really? This is like, what, the 5th time this month that you tried to get the jump on me? You're not going to be able to me like the last 2 times. Like the first 2 times." And then Ice Drop just looks at Asuka, and she is actually slightly taller than Asuka is. But as we all know in Dragon Ball Z, size means absolutely nothing, so Asuka doesn't even bother with it. So once she's looking straight at Asuka, and Asuka is just looking straight back at her, and Ice Drop is basically saying, "Hey, you've been causing trouble for the real residents of this planet." And Asuka's just like, and I've also heard that you've been cool. I've also seen that you've been seeing that scientist man. And Asuka's just like, and then the Ice Drop is just like, and well, I'm here to kick your ass, okay? That's all I have to say. And then Asuka is just chuckling like, "Oh, well, okay, if you think you can, bring it on. I mean, don't worry, I'll go easier on you this time." Now, Ice Drop just doesn't say anything and what's at Asuka. Asuka with the intent to basically maim her. Now, with the intent to maim her as much as possible, completely not even worried about the fact that Asuka is like 6 right now. But like I said, Saiyans mature extremely fast, so she's 6, but she acts like she's 12 or 13. As we see with Kakarot and especially with Vegeta. Vegeta's one of the best examples of how quick Saiyans mature from a young age. Just look at Vegeta and you'll know what I'm talking about. So Asuka looks at Ice Drop coming towards her, and just barely manages to redirect her first punch before he kicks Ice Drop straight in her knee, immediately making her topple over, and then punches her straight across the face before she falls over. Causing her to basically fall over. And once Ice Drop is on the ground, Asuka positions herself behind her and immediately puts her into like and immediately just starts to strangle her from behind. And she has had some level of training from Glacier, but it was mostly in terms of movement speed, positioning, and of course a few martial arts here and there. She's by no means a master yet, but she is at least proficient enough to handle a basic street thug like Ice Drop. And once he has Ice Drop in like that grip, she doesn't let go at all. And even when Ice Drop uses her tail to basically whip her in the back over and over again to try to get her off, Asuka just uses her own tail to basically shield her back. But then she gets another idea and basically uses her tail to also choke Ice Drop from behind. And Now, Arcosians don't need air to breathe, but that doesn't mean that they can't be choked unconscious. They don't need air to breathe, but that doesn't mean they can't be, like stunned by nerve endings in their neck. Which they would most likely have, considering when Goku hit Frieza in the back of his neck, Frieza had an intense reaction. So they have similar nerves to a human. It seems. So Asuka's basically unknowingly doing that. And then once that's over, he just puts back a knee and kicks Ice Drop as hard as he can in the back of the head. And then Ice Drop, she drops. She just drops to the ground, and her cronies are like, "Oh, she did it again." And then they try to attack Asuka because they think she's tired. But Asuka is in no way winded, and with just a few punches kicks, knees, and a one headbutt, she pretty much knocks out the other 6 people there. And then she just kind of walks off. Now you're probably wondering what her power level is at this point. And unlike Glacier, she's had to fight on the streets for a while now, especially against the Arcosian kids. Now I've been thinking for a while about just how strong the average Arcosian would be, and then I realized that. Then I came to a conclusion. Okay, so when King Vegeta is the strongest of the Saiyans. He's about at a power level of 10,000. And his son was stronger than him, which is probably around 11 or 12,000. So that means that, and since Raditz is a low-level warrior and he has a power level around 1,400, and Raditz is a mid-level warrior, you're actually wait, no, scratch that. Warrior about 8,000. 8 though. It was about 8,000. So going within that area of regular Saiyans, we can see that its ranges from about 1,000 to around probably 12,000. But I misspoke. What I really meant to say was when they were on Namek, and then they saw that Ginyu looked at Goku's power level and said it was 30. Was it 30,000? I think it was 30. No, it wasn't. They looked at Goku's power level and it was at around. I think it was it 40,000? Something tells me it was around either. Oh, it was 40,000, I think. Okay, so then they looked at Goku's power. Ginyu basically scanned Goku's power level, and his first words were, Jace's words were, "I didn't know Saiyan could get that strong." Those were his first words, and then Ginyu just looked at him. Oh, Goku's power level was around 90. Oh, it was around 90,000. Huh. Interesting. Oh wait, was it? Wait, let me look at it again. Oh no, it was 90,000. And Ginyu said, don't worry, this is legit, he's a mutant, like us. So that means that a 90,000 power level for Saiyans was considered mutated. And we do have the other, so we have a base for what a normal Saiyan's power would be. Our low class was legitimately 40 times weaker than legitimately 90 times weaker than this. That's the gap between a mutated Saiyan and a regular average warrior like Raditz. So if we're gonna apply that to someone like So we want to apply that to someone based. And again, Raditz was still a combatant. Like, he was still a straight up combatant. But he was the weakest combatant in Saiyan history, from what we have seen. Even though he spent most of his life conquering planets. And it's like, what? So that's legitimately, and as we all know, Frieza and his family are mutated members of the race. Now, the power is hard to gauge. Frieza said he spent most of his time in his base form and his first form because he wanted to hold back his true power. But consider his true power. So we're going to do this two ways basically. We're going to go from saying his max of 120 million divided by 90, and then we're gonna go to his other power level of 1,530,000 divided by 90. Because not many people know this, but Frieza was never, before his fight with Goku, Frieza was never seen in his final form against anyone. There was only rumors he could transform. So nobody knew that he could actually transform, and it was all speculation and rumor. As Zarbon said. Even Zarbon and Dodoria didn't really know if he could transform or not. They just said, I mean, even if they probably would know considering they're his right-hand men, but I highly doubt he showed them anything too insane. So basically what we're dealing with is a power level of over 1 million to 530,000 if we say he showed them his second form. Let me just get my calculator somewhere around here. Oh, what am I doing? I have a phone, I'm just gonna use that. Okay, so 530,000 divided by 90. See how strong a low-class soldier the Frieza race would be. Hold up. Are you kidding me? Oh, here we go. Okay, so 500. So we're gonna go for the high end first. About 1 million. Let's just say that it was about 1 million. About 12 million? No, 1.2 million. And then we're gonna divide. No, what the? And we're gonna divide that by 90. So basically, what 500? Wait, what? Is that even what? What? Hold up. What is wrong with this thing? 530. We're gonna go with the low end first. Because this other one wasn't working. And we divide that by 90. What the? Okay, this calculator is awful. This is gonna use the one on my computer. Crap, it would have actually been easier to use on here. Okay, so that's me. Okay, I do apologize for the fact that I have gone a bit off on like what the story was doing, but I wanted to provide some context about like where Asuka would be in terms of like the Arcosian race that he's been pretty much spent like most of her life with at this point. So basically, okay, so 530,000 divided by 90. See, and that, so divided by 9. Okay, wait, I could have just done like this. So 530,000 divided by like something like 100 would be about 530. Would be legitimately 530. 30 or about. So it's about 530 to 5,030. 30. So that was like the 500. I'm gonna just stick with like the first form because that's where most people gauged him at, and they still thought he was incredibly powerful. And even the Ginyu Force, who outclassed Zarbon and Midoriya by leagues, didn't know about his transformations. And so I'm just gonna stick with 530,000 for simplicity's sake. And we get an average power levels of about actually, you know what, let me just change that to 100. Okay, hold up a bit. I really should have done this before I made the video, probably. Okay, so divide that by, I'm gonna divide by 100 because dividing it by 90 just got me like 58 or something, or 888,000. But this one gives, so I guess it's 58,000 then. So 58,000 would be the average power level, like the average soldier on Arcosia. Yeah, 53,000 to around 58,000. To around 58,000. I mean, no, 5,300 to 5,800 is what I meant. 5,300 to 5,800 to be the average power level of like a soldier on Arcosia. Yeah, and as we all know, there were even Saiyans on Planet Vegeta that also had power levels that were in the hundreds. One of the scientists even scanned a Saiyan child and even said, "Wow, 830. That's higher than where I am right now." And he was a scientist, so it made sense for him to be like that. But I do think Arcosians are born with a higher potential than most other Saiyans, and pretty much a lot of other races. And let's be honest, that's not that much of a stretch to say that. So at this point, so basically, that's the average range we're working with on Arcosia for the average people. About 530 to 5,800, around 53 to 5,800. No, I mean from around 530 to around 5,880. That's about the power level we're looking at right now. And because of this, that means Asuka has fought people most likely at around those levels. Most likely the lower levels, considering even those he can't yet sense energy as of right now. Now, she could at the very least be able to sense and smell. She does have highly advanced smell and sight, and and as we all know, Saiyans have good battle instincts, so she's able to choose her opponents carefully. And as I said, by the end of the first part, she was at least 1,500. So she could take care of the weaker Arcosian troublemakers pretty easily. Because mostly she just fought people that are around 530 or to like 800. But then she found out that the best stuff she could get was from people that were slightly stronger, like at around 1,500. Like at around her own strength, like 1,500 to 70, or even at around 2,000, then to around 2,500. So she started going after the higher level targets. And at first she got her ass kicked, of course, but she did realize that as each fight went, she kept getting stronger until she eventually rivaled or surpassed the people she was fighting, and she decided to stay steady at around the 2,000 to 3,000 mark. So now, her power level would have gone up by about, let's see. Oh yeah, another thing for how Asuka's growth would basically work is that when she, crap, why does it keep doing it? It's like, okay, I had this pulled up already, but then I had to pull it up again because, I mean, why not make me have to go through this in the middle of like a video? Yeah, hold up a bit. Oh, here we go. Finally, I found it. So, for example, if she's fighting someone stronger than her at her level, she would basically, at a power level of 1,000, she basically gets 100 plus to that power level. Each prolonged, intense fight, like as long as he's in that fight and that intense battle, she'll be able to get about a plus 100 every time she's in like that fight. So if she's fighting somebody stronger than her, it'll be plus 100 for every, I think, few minutes, for possibly for possibly as long as he is in the fight. It's not fast though, and she can still be beaten if they just decide to stop playing around with her, power her. But since most people just thought of her as a pest, she used that to her advantage, and she just kind of like acted as pathetic as she could in fights. Well, no, she didn't really do that, but she basically just shouted at them like, "Give me what you got," and said, "I'm hungry." Great, and she basically just acted like a brat at that point, and for some reason that made them not want to fight her too hard, because Glacier has basically did some studies on her to make sure to do like medical checkups, you know, and he found out that it seems like unlike other Saiyans, you don't get Zenkai boost. So getting injured to the point of not being able to move and healing would not be beneficial to her at all. So she spent as little time getting injured as she could. So when it looked like her opponents were really about to get aggravated and just start wailing on her, she would basically just get out. And at this point, she had been in about way more than 10 intense fights out in this year. Possibly 15. And if we say she's been in like 15, that would mean that it would be about 1,500, which would add to the other 1,500 power that she had gotten since she basically was kicked out of Glacier's house. That would add on to the 1,500 she was already at. And that means she's right now at a power level of around 3,000. And possibly 3,089, I'm going to say. The goals that she just dropped basically was at a power level of possibly 3,100. Which is why Asuka basically wanted to get this fight over with as quickly as she could. Even though she probably could have just gotten a bit, because she would have wanted the fight to last longer, but whenever one Arcosian delinquent is close by, another one is more than likely to follow. So she leaves the scene. Also, that and the authorities kind of keep tracks on this stuff more efficiently than on Earth. So she would pretty much just getting the hell out of Dodge as quickly as possible. Well, because on the slums and on the streets, you learn to finish fights as quick as you can and to just get the hell out. So that's exactly what she did. She finished the fight as quickly as she could and got the hell out. And then she meets up. She goes to meet up with Glacier in like the usual place. Well, not usual because it's all over the place. And Glacier this time comes to her, and he has, for some reason, a month's worth of food somehow. And as well as some replacement clothing for her. He looks at her and he tells her to follow him. And Glacier and Asuka does follow him. She's like, "Hey, Glacier, what's up? What's up? You seem a bit under the weather, you know?" No, and then Glacier just shows her to like a ship, and it's basic. And this ship is, it's like one of those old, it's like a Saiyan pod ship too, and all it has the core, and it's in like one of the wool areas of the planet, like the boonies where nobody else will really go to, so it will be undetected. He points to the ship, and then he points to Asuka. He says, "Asuka, look, I'm going on a very dangerous mission in the next few weeks, in the next week or so, for the next week, and I'm going to need you to look after, and I'm going to need you to look after yourself for then, okay?" Now, the mission, you know, every time the mission ends, I'm always here the day after it's over. And then Asuka's like, "Yeah, you're always punctual with time. What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Well, if I don't come, well, this mission is incredibly dangerous. To be honest, they even tried to tell me not to take part in it, but I needed to be able to do, but I need to do, I just needed to go, alright? I know you'll understand when, like, you're older, but, like, I needed to go on this mission. And one day, I'm pretty sure you'll find out why and when, but other than that, you know, he was like, you remember what I taught you, and Asuka just, like, hugs Glaciers, and she's like, "Oh, you big dumbass, don't start talking like you think you're going to die. You're one of the strongest people on our cozy, aren't you? Well, one of, I mean, I know there are people stronger than you, but still, you're pretty strong. So don't be going and saying dumb stuff like that." And then she's smiling while she says this, because she doesn't really know what he's talking about, but she doesn't really have any fear that he won't come back. And Glacier hugs Asuka as well. Well, but then he just points back at the ship, and he says, "But in case that ever happens, I need you to get in the ship, and I need you to go. Just press that button. The coordinates are already set for you, and I need you to go back to planet Vegeta." And of course, Asuka knows about the planet Vegeta and about the other Saiyans. She also knows he's technically really not from those Saiyans, because he's seen pictures of them, and they look nothing like her, especially with the tails and the hair. But she's not against going to live with the Saiyans, but why? But she's been having a lot of fun here. But if Glacier thinks that's where she should go if something were to happen to him, then she'll gladly go there. That, and it would be nice to be around people that would at least resemble your features. She likes a lot of she likes a couple of Orcosians, but let's just be honest, she sticks out a lot on that planet. So Glacier looks down at Asuka, and he rubs her head, and then he goes off on like his. Then he just leaves early to go off on his mission. And then mission. I was like, I don't know. I can't bring you with me this time, Asuka. But I hope to see you again when I get back. And then Asuka looks at Glacier leaving, and she can't tell why, but for some reason she has a feeling that she won't ever see him again in the same way, or that she won't see him again at all. But she shrugs his head off, and just kind of does a little smile, and she's like, "Oh well, let's see what that what he bought